The key to making more money and increasing your freelance copywriting income is getting more done in less time. Today, I'm going to share with you how I use AI tools to speed up my writing process, make me a better writer, and just allow me to get more done in less time so that I can take on more clients and generate more freelance income. I know talking about AI and software can be super boring, so I promise this video is not going to be dry and technical. I'm Christine. I'm a full-time freelance copywriter who helps other aspiring writers learn how to land high-paying clients so they can make a full-time income writing online without a boss, without a commute, and without anyone making the rules for you. If you want copywriting tips and freelance business tips, please be sure to subscribe because I'm posting 2 videos per week giving away my best content for free. So let's start with where I see AI going. At its very basic, AI is just going to be a tool you can use to get more done in less time. And that could either go 2 directions. It means that you're getting the same amount of work done in a shorter period of time so you can go off and enjoy your family, take care of your kids, do what you want to do with your free time. Or option number 2 is take on more client work and just fill that extra time to generate more income. All of that will depend on your goals. I know many of us freelance writers go into this profession of being a self-employed writer and going through all the hassle of running our own little businesses because we don't want to be slaves to a 9-to-5, and we love that flexibility. We love the autonomy and the ability to just decide what we want to do with our time. For me, at this period of my life, it's reinvesting that time back into my course 30 Days to Paid, where I mentor aspiring writers. At another point in my life, before I got into the online course creation space, my goal was just to do whatever I wanted, watch YouTube videos all day, go to the beach, mostly read on the beach. So the beauty of it is that it's your choice. Now, the other big way that I see AI changing the freelance copywriting and the freelance content writing game is the ability to scale your writing business. Now, the biggest conundrum, not only for freelance writers, but for any service-based business, whether you are a graphic designer, whether you are a marketing consultant, the biggest challenge to being a service-based business is that you only have so many hours in a day. Now, most entrepreneurs at this point look for a way to scale their services. They usually go about this by creating a digital product. Now, creating a digital product isn't actually applicable in the freelance copywriting game, and I'll tell you why. The people who are hiring you to be a freelance copywriter want you, they want your time, and they want your knowledge, your brain, and your effort. They don't want a template. Actually, most of the time, they don't even want to know that you're outsourcing the writing to other people. They want you. So there's really no direction for you to go in order to scale and replicate your efforts. You have to be in the business, putting in the work. And that means, for the most part, that you're capped. It means that at a certain amount of hours, you can no longer work to generate that income. You are being compensated for the time that you put in. The fact that you can't put your services into a digital product as a freelance copywriter, there's 2 other directions you can go in. Number 1 is to outsource your writing to a junior copywriter. So you're lightening the load. You even might outsource certain parts of your business, like the accounting or admin tasks. This will require you to invest some of your earnings into paying someone and outsourcing the work. Outsourcing the work is a little bit tricky because you have to go about hiring someone, explaining to them how you want the work done, and then obviously giving them a portion of your income. It can be really stressful, especially if you're just starting out. Honestly, sometimes it feels like there's so much we have to do and learn and be as a freelance copywriter. And for someone like me who's really had a dream of being a solopreneur, somebody who is not going to create a business that requires me to manage and hire and fire other people, it's just not really a match for my personality. I think I broke free from that 9-to-5 setting for the exact reason of not liking the hierarchies that happen within companies. So although outsourcing is definitely in my future because I'm creating content now, I don't have plans to expand to some big company. Now, the other most common route that a lot of copywriters pursue is creating a freelance copywriting agency. When you hear a podcast of successful freelancers being interviewed, they're mostly talking about the fact that they scaled into an agency model. And what this means is that they were getting so much copywriting work, they didn't have enough time. They found themselves at that crossroads that we all find ourselves in. So they decided that they would just start taking on clients and outsourcing the work to other freelancers and calling themselves an agency, naming their actual company, me, instead of just being a solopreneur freelance writer, they probably tack on more services within their agency depending on how big they grow. So it could be content strategy, SEO, maybe even graphic design. But again, it's going from solopreneur to an actual business. Even if that business is only a handful of people or less, it's still expanding and taking freelance writing into a whole other sphere. Now, if neither of those options appeal to you the way they don't appeal to me, this is where AI can come in. I think AI can serve as a tool we use to remain solopreneurs, remain small, but not cap our income, which is only possible in today's world where we have these cutting edge technologies like AI. Now, if you intentionally implement AI into your business like I'm doing now, here is the alternative to those other options like agency and outsourcing work to other freelancers. You use AI to get more writing done in less time, take on more clients, and increase your monthly income. It's almost like in those movies where you see somebody do speed and they just get everything done in a shorter period of time. Or like, I know for me in college, everybody took Adderall to study. It's like AI is taking Adderall, getting more done and staying more focused without doing illegal drugs. And the beauty of AI is that you're able to focus on higher level strategy versus the manual work of doing all of that writing. So for me, I am mostly a long form content writer. I write really in-depth blog posts for my clients. I write ebooks, and making that process go quicker and actually going back into the document once the AI has written a lot of the stuff for me, I can say, you know what, I want to go in this direction. I want to include these points to incorporate my client's value proposition and their positioning in the marketplace. So it really cuts the workload in half, because typically a writer has to not only do all of the writing themselves, look up the research, do the research, get those stats, pull quotes, do all of that stuff. Then they have to take a higher level look at the piece and see, did we correctly position the product? Did I adhere to the outline? Did I make the points that I wanted to make? It's very challenging when you write content that's really long to really make sure that you're hitting on all the right points and conveying the points that you want to get through. So AI takes 50% of that work off your plate so you can really focus on making sure the piece is going in the right direction in less time. Now, you guys know I will always keep it real with you about what the realities are of a situation. So I do want to share with you what my concerns or my apprehensions are about AI and where this is going in the future. Now, granted, I'm not an AI expert, so these fears might be actually misconceptions, and maybe an AI expert could come on and explain to me why my concerns are invalid, but I'm just going to give you my gut reaction to what the possible drawbacks of AI could be. Now, there are obvious ethical concerns about AI, the concept of machines or robots replacing humans. Most ethical AI conversation will always center around, do we want to be eliminating jobs, making people redundant, and replacing people with machines? While of course that's a valid argument and one that can go very in depth, my main concern is, are the robots going to get smart enough to start murdering us? I know that might sound insane, but it did happen. I don't know if it was Japan. I don't know. Somebody programmed this robot to kill someone. Actually, I just Googled it, and all of the headlines are saying that there's no evidence that exists that did happen, and that it's like a conspiracy theory that 4 robots killed 29 humans in a Japanese lab. I don't know. A lot of the stuff they tell you is a conspiracy these days turns out to be true. But whether it happened or not, it's a logical concern, because if you can program a robot to do anything, it could potentially kill people. And unlike a human who you can kill in self-defense, you might not be able to kill a robot who's trying to kill you. So I'm just saying that might sound crazy, but I am afraid that the robots are going to become so powerful that they're going to start killing us. But back to my less paranoid, crazy concern about people's jobs being replaced by robots. Here's the issue I have with the argument about, oh, robots are replacing people. In 2022, we no longer have the luxury of learning one skill, sticking with that skill, riding it out for 30 years at the same company. We are in a world now that is forcing us to constantly adapt. And if you don't adapt along with it, you will get left behind. Your job will become redundant. And it's up to us to really level up our skills and keep growing if we want to safe-proof our careers. If anything, what I see AI doing is kind of replacing the commodity writers that are just able to write generalist copy on any subject. They're not super specialized. There's nothing special about their writing. They're just your basic SEO writer on any random subject, and they could be getting paid a low fee on Upwork or Fiverr. those people might be in trouble because a robot can very easily replicate the work they can do. However, if you have a skill such as strategy, or you have a niche that gives you expertise and a lot of in-depth industry knowledge, you are not easily replaceable by a robot, because a robot really can't understand that high-level strategy. They can't communicate with a client and elicit what they want and their vision for the company. It really only can replace such a small part of the job that is freelance copywriting. So the only writers that really should be worried are nicheless writers or generalist writers that don't have established expertise in one topic or niche. Ray Edwards was talking about this very topic on his podcast the other day. He was doing a Q&A and somebody wrote in that they were concerned about this very thing. And he said, the key is to differentiate yourself. Start building a personal brand. Give yourself a leg up so that you have some power in the marketplace to be able to say, well, I can do this for you and I'm different because of X, Y, and Z. And to me, that all comes down to the way you brand yourself based on your niche. And that's why niche is probably one of the biggest topics that I talk about in my online course. Everybody enrolls in 30 Days to Paid wanting to learn how to cold pitch freelance clients on LinkedIn, but we wind up spending the most time in the niche module because writers get so stuck on which niche they want to choose. But once you actually choose your niche, the marketing and the positioning of yourself becomes a lot easier. My other major concern with AI, and I'm going to show you later in this video how I'm using AI, I'm going to give you the demo. What about the writers who actually really need to put in that work in the beginning to learn how to become a good writer, and AI is going to take that ability away from them because it's doing the work for you? It's a really complex conversation, right? Because a lot of the stuff I'm doing with AI, the AI just complements the knowledge and the writing skills that I've built from working for years without AI. So if you're like brand new writer and you just haven't done a lot of writing and you're relying so heavily on AI, that could really stunt your writing skills. But it's not so cut and dry, because if you always are going to have the AI to help you do the writing, are you going to need even the writing skill independently? It's kind of like that argument about how people can't memorize facts anymore and they can't really do math because the smartphones, like everything is just so accessible that you get that assistance. You always have a calculator in your pocket. There's that meme where it's like, my high school math teacher said that we needed to learn math because we're not always going to have a calculator with us. And it's like, plot twist, we all have calculators with us at all times. I do think AI is best used for writers who do have some experience with writing for clients without it. However, the one thing that it really can be helping you with, even if you're not experienced, is generating an outline, a keyword researched outline, which is amazing. I'm going to get into that in this video, so stay tuned for that. So now that we've gotten my thoughts and opinions out of the way, let's get into the actual demo, and I'm going to show you how I use AI in my writing business, and hopefully it'll generate some ideas in you of how you can use it to get more done in less time and bring in more freelance income. Today, I'm only going to focus on 2 features that the AI does, which is using AI to generate an outline and then using the AI to generate the paragraphs. Now, full disclosure, I was only using AI very minimally up until this point, until I discovered Content Edge. The only ways that I was using AI was, number one, obviously Grammarly, which fixes your grammar. I used Hemingway, which I don't even know if they're considered necessarily AI, but Hemingway app is a great way if you're still learning copywriting, especially content writing, because it takes your piece of work and shows you which sentences are too long, which sentences are too lengthy or complicated. It tells you what reading level your writing is at, which is really key. Because when we write online, we want to be writing for like an 8th grade level max, believe it or not. The cool thing about Hemingway too, side note, is that once you use it a few times, you really don't have to use it ever again, because it actually trains you to write in like shorter, choppier, more succinct sentences. So it actually levels up your writing skills as you go. So I love Hemingway. I was also using WordTune to rewrite my sentences. So sometimes I would have a thought, I would write out the idea, but it just wasn't sounding right, or it was sounding too clunky, or I'm like, oh my God, there just has to be a better way to say this. Well, that's where WordTune came in. It was basically rewording my sentences, making my sentences shorter, getting the idea across in less time, which is what we always want with copywriting. So using AI to write your sentences is great if you're doing landing page copy or you're writing websites for your clients. clients because taglines have to be short, but they have to convey a lot of information. So if you're not getting the idea across the way that you want, use AI. It'll kind of reword and reorganize the sentences for you. It literally feels like cheating. So I'm inside Content Edge, and it kind of reminds me of being inside a Google Doc. As with any software platform, there's so many different uses, but let's just keep it simple and see what you can start doing right away. What I have on the agenda today is I am writing an ebook from scratch from one of my newer clients. Ebooks are about 3,000 words. I typically have a turnaround of 3.5 weeks that it takes me to write a ebook for a client. Not that it takes 3.5 full weeks of writing, it's just that with all of my other client work, I can only guarantee a 3-week turnaround to the client. I charge $2,500 for an ebook. So as you can imagine, if I'm charging $2,500 and it takes me 3 weeks to write an ebook, if I can cut that time in half, I can take on more ebook clients and charge $2,500 a couple times over because I have more time in my schedule to do the writing. I'm gonna take the outline that my client gave me. This was a situation where I wrote the outline, submitted to the client, they got internal approval, and then they sent it back to me with edits. So I'm about to show you the Google Doc that they send back to me. I'm going to copy and paste it into Content Edge so I can have Content Edge fill in the outline for me. Here's the Google Doc. I'm just going to copy and paste it into Content Edge. Select all, Control C, go back to Content Edge, and boom, Control V. It's a copy and paste. The whole outline is now in this doc. Now here's where Content Edge really surprised me. I thought that at most what AI would be able to do is take a subject line or a heading and just spit out some generic text somewhat on the subject that I'd later have to go back and mold and rewrite to actually relate to my niche, to make it sound like it's coming from a writer that specializes in that niche. But I was so surprised. Seriously, just watch what this thing does. So when any writer outlines, they're just going to write like chicken scratch, essentially. Like it's almost like a placeholder. It's like, here's what I'm going to talk about here, but it's not a fully fleshed out idea. So I had zero confidence that AI would be able to take that sentence and actually create a full paragraph that was basically done. Even this, like the fact that it's saying include Gartner and Forrester stats, I would never expect an AI to know that in my niche, that's how we get compelling stats for content, but just watch. You highlight it. It gives you a few different options. You can create an outline out of that point. You can create a paragraph out of that point. You can rewrite it, which is like the AI functionality that I was most familiar with. So let's see what it says. Click paragraph. I literally had written in the outline, just give the lay of the land, talk about the current B2B sales buying landscape with Gartner and Forrester stats and views. It created this paragraph. Sales 2.0 is a term that's been used to describe the current state of the buyer-seller interaction in B2B sales. It's a broad term that basically means that buyers and sellers are interacting in new ways beyond just the typical sales call. The idea is that buyers have more information available to them than ever before, and they're not as willing to sit through long sales presentations, so they're looking for ways to get their questions answered quickly and efficiently. In order to be successful in today's B2B sales environment, you have to be willing to change your approach and adapt to new ways of interacting with buyers. I actually love that, but let's see what else it comes up with. Show me something else. In a recent report, Gartner predicted by the end of 2017, sales would be conducted by a combo of salespeople, intelligent software agents, and customer-facing IT systems. So again, they pulled in the Gartner research for me. However, I wouldn't want to include a stat from 2017 necessarily, but that would be so easy for me to just write a comment in the Google Doc saying, hey, pull a more recent stat here. So what's interesting is that it's pulling from real-time research. It's pulling in the views from the industry. This can be so powerful as a content writing tool to demonstrate industry knowledge and expertise that you don't necessarily even have, and you don't have to do the research to gain it. Now, these paragraphs are not going to be perfect by any means, but they are going to give me a starting point that allows me to polish and rewrite it quickly, and it's as close to done as possible. So that's where I was saying before that I don't believe that robots can truly replace writers, because we are going to need to oversee what the AI is doing. Now, let's just say that I didn't get an outline from my client, because sometimes a client is not going to give you an outline. They'll give you maybe an idea and you'll have to go out and create your own. Typically, what I do at that point is go and look at what the top ranking articles are in that subject and try to model my outline based on the information that the top ranking articles have. However, Content Edge does that for you. It actually scrapes all of the data from the top ranking articles and generates an outline for you. So I'm going to show you how to do that in just 2 clicks. So I'm back to the top of the document and the title is Empowering the Modern Seller. Let's see what type of outline it's going to create. You just highlight it and click outline. This is an interesting outline, but again, it isn't perfect. What is a seller wouldn't be a valid topic in the space that I'm writing in. These are salespeople who are actually Googling these topics, so they don't need to know what a salesperson is. So let's see what else it has to offer. This is actually pretty good right here. At least it understands that I'm writing in the sales enablement space. Let's see what else it can generate. Now it's suggesting this outline: the modern seller, the customer journey, the buyer's journey, technology, sales process, future of sales. It definitely understands the content subject matter. However, all of those headings, it'll give a general structure of how you should outline the thoughts and the points of the piece, which is really helpful, but those headlines alone I wouldn't be able to use. I definitely like this one too: the technology, the tools, the process, conclusion. This is a good one too: the changing sales landscape, the modern buyer, rise of account-based sales process, the account-based sales technology stack, and the future of sales. So this is really a great outlining tool. However, you're going to have to use your own judgment and your own knowledge of your client's niche to really create the best outline and rename those headings so that they make sense for the overall piece. You are really in the driver's seat. You really step into content strategist and content editor, but you're using the AI to do the actual writing, which is awesome. If you're interested in writing blog posts to generate the majority of your freelance income the way I do, definitely check out this blog post writing series where I break down how to write a blog post, what tools you can use, and writing tips that will help you level up so you can demand top dollar for your work. Definitely check it out right after this video.